Hey guys, this is part 2 of the Cancer Financial Focus Tarot reading for May 2015. So, what I was saying is you guys got these two cards together, and I'll show you them. Now, this is what's going on in the present moment, this card, and this is what's going on in the recent past, okay? But because they're together and because, you have the Knight and you kind of have this breakup, it's the conflict, okay? And it's interesting because the way the Knight is positioned, is very Cancer-esque. You are, it's very classic that Cancers look at the past. And so you are probably looking at the past, either going over in your mind about a breakup or a divorce, or you're hurt by something that something that happened, some loss that you had to deal with. Now, this Ten of Swords is really a card that's temporary grief. Things are going to improve. You will find love and a partner. This is, the message is don't lose hope. And I wrote another quote from Anna Green Gables: tomorrow is always fresh with no mistakes in it. Okay, Cancer? So you need to look to tomorrow instead of looking back at the past. Because if you keep going over and over the past, you're not giving yourself credit where credit is due. Sometimes a breakup or divorce is something that's like the natural thing, the natural flow of life. It's sort of like, sometimes things just wither and die. Actually, they always wither and die over time. A flower, it's just natural. It withers and dies. People, humans, we wither and die. We're not young forever, unfortunately. Our skin does not stay young and supple forever. It eventually gets wrinkly and old and then crusty and then dies. So I'm glad I was able to give you that lovely image. So anyways, and I do want to say, I don't understand why old people do not wear lotion. Maybe they weren't taught to wear lotion, or whether they don't think it's that important. But old people don't do enough for their skin. There's got to be a market for that somewhere. Anyways, okay, so enough about old people and skin and dust. Okay, so you've got these cards together. You've got this conflict card. You've got this loss and you're hurting, and I understand, but it's temporary, okay? You've got to let it go, okay? The thing that's crossing you is actually a message of hope, you see, such as a new job, financial increase. This can indicate someone with little money. Maybe you don't have a lot of money. Maybe you're a poor student. You have some bright prospects. This is a young man or woman just about to embark in a career. This is when the phone rings or someone just shows up. Okay, this is good. This is the message of hope. Okay, there's new opportunities. In business, you need more direction. Okay, you're just going day to day. Okay, you need to think about the future and have more direction, have more of a business plan and outlook of what's happening. Okay, and more organization too. So let's recap here. So we have guy or girl. We have this knight in shining armor who is could be you, or could somebody. This could be your husband or partner or wife. Or girlfriend. But this to me is about overcoming obstacles, okay? So it could be a person, or it could just be about overcoming obstacles, getting over literally a breakup. If those of you who are single, this is swift change. This is change. This is things happening very fast. This is looking back at the past. you know, feeling like you're never going to meet someone, okay? You being single and worried that you're never going to meet someone, okay? And then what's crossing you is, or worried that you're never going to get a job, right? And what's crossing you is you're going to get a job. The phone is going to ring, the email is going to come through, you're going to get it, okay? So that's very positive. In the distant past, you know, you really didn't have enough work-life balance. And this is the Ten of Wands, okay? And the Ten of Wands typically, you know, shows somebody who's overburdened, okay? So this is similar to the traditional tarot in that sense. I wrote, being overburdened by work and responsibilities, not enough fun or playtime, not enough work-life balance, too many demands, and not enough breathing room. Needing to delegate and get organized. If you're in business, not enough romance time or romance if in a relationship. So this can be where your life has become work, or your life has become, you know, too much about responsibilities. The romance maybe in your relationship has died, okay? And so you need to kind of focus on romance in your relationship, rekindling the fire. I mean, this is the Ten of Wands, bringing that kind of, you know, so there's two things. You need to kind of give yourself a makeover, okay? You need to give yourself a makeover and reorganize and restructure your time, okay? You're doing too much maybe for others and not enough for yourself. So you need to focus on doing more for yourself, and then focus on rekindling, rebuilding that fire between you and your partner if you have a partner. If you don't have a partner, then it just seems like you're working a gazillion hours and you don't have the fun in your life anymore, and you don't even have time for romance. So this is where that feeling of sorrow and sadness is coming from. Some of you are kind of going, well, I want more love in my life. I want a partner. I want romance, but I don't have time, you know? All you do is work, and that's it. You're not making enough time. So you need to somehow find the time. You can make time. You're going to have to figure that out. So, you know, pencil it in. I mean, I find it very astonishing that people have to pencil in sex, you know, that shrinks tell them to make it, you know, a priority. Some people are very distracted, and so they need these kinds of things to kind of help them focus on it. If they don't write it in their calendar, it doesn't happen. They're not really thinking about it. Some people don't have the hormones. Literally, some people don't have that kind of sex-driven hormonal urge. So, like, they don't think about it. Whereas other people, that's all they think about all day long. And I mean, and this doesn't necessarily, and I'm not talking guys and girls here. I'm talking on both, you know, parties. You can have a guy who has very little hormones and has no desire to have sex and is just very out there and work oriented and you know, and then you could also have a girl that's also very work oriented, maybe thinking about the kids, maybe thinking about what she's, you know, doing for dinner. She's not thinking about getting sexy tonight. She's not, you know, so she's going to be the person that's going to want to pencil it in, have sex tonight with the hubs, get sexy tonight, make it a sex night, okay? And it's funny, in my last video, my Gemini video, I was talking about how having more sex does improve your finances, okay? It's the same chakra, the sex chakra, the creative chakra, the money chakra, it's all the same, okay? So if you want to improve your finances, you need to have more sex, basically. And some of you are probably really disgusted by me saying that, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. That's just how it is. And if you don't, you know, don't vibe with it, then, you know, that's, you know, your feeling, you know, and I totally respect that. So now what's crowning you is this is a time, financially, this is to save, this is to not spend, this is a time of waiting. of saving, of being very careful with expenses, management of finances. This card was not in reverse, but if it had been, this would have said taking time to evaluate some things, taking a pause or break. Either way, to me, this is going you need to go slowly if in romance, if you get into any kind of new romantic things, and you need to think things through. So this is the kind of thing where you meet someone and you have that desire for them, okay? And you want to be with them, but for whatever reason, it's not going to work. Maybe that person is significantly older than you, or significantly younger than you, or that person, you don't have really anything in common with except your desire to sleep with them. So it's just like, it's the kind of thing where if it doesn't really work, if it can't really work, you need to go slowly. You need to determine if it can work, okay? Don't rush into it. This is not a time of rushing into things. I feel like because of the Mercury retrograde, things are slowing down for a lot of people. For you, this is a time where I'm going to encourage you not to spend as much. This is a time to be very careful with your finances, to not make any large purchases, and really think things through. Business may slow down for you. However, I feel like it's interesting because you got a couple of things going on as far as new job opportunities. Someone who has a lot of prospects. They're embarking on a new career. They're embarking on a new project. They're opening up a new business. It's very new and very fresh. And so don't let me tell you how to live your life here with the finances. If you're doing this new stuff and you need to go buy yourself a new suit, go buy the new suit. If you need to invest in something because it's part of your business, whether it's buying a desk or a chair for the office, buy it. I'm not saying not to do those things, but I'm saying for those of you who may be bigger spenders, this is not a time to go crazy. Okay, this is a time where things are slowing down. So it's a time to save rather than spend if you can, okay? And you also have this page here. This is the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups is all about, and I feel like this person has shown up in like almost every single reading. So for some of you, this is a new job. This is someone who may be a student, somebody who's in school, someone who's looking for a new job. A lot of people may be just looking for work, okay? And that's why this is coming up. And this is getting it. It's going to happen, okay? And you're going to like what you're going to do, okay? You're going to like the new job. And this, this new job opportunity it's going to be hard work. It's not going to be easy. But it's going to lead to financial gain in the end. Just be smart about your choices. Be smart about what you're doing. Cancers have a difficult time making choices. So, the way to make a decision, and you need to look up books on how to make a decision, okay? And there are some really cool books out there on how to make a smart or wise decision. Know that you can't fail. Know that failure doesn't exist. Know that you cannot make a mistake. Know that you're perfect. Know that you are a divine creature, okay? And you can make anything happen that you want. It's a magical world, okay? So don't think of any of the negative stuff. Don't let any of that negative stuff, that worry, those nagging thoughts stop you from making the decision. Maybe to take the leap of faith. Maybe it's to take a job that you wouldn't normally take, but you really like it. Maybe it's to me, this is career. This is not relationship, but it could be. Maybe this is to date someone that you wouldn't normally date, and you have that feeling and you're like, I really want to act on it, but I don't know how, So you kind of need to do you need to make yourself a little checklist and be like, what is it that I want? Check, 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 And if the thing that you want is what you're getting, whether with a new job opportunity or whether it's a new relationship, then do it. That's how you make the wise decision. It's really just based on what it is that you are looking for. You have to make the decision, you just need to make up your mind what it is that you want. That's all you need to do. And if it's going to be good for you. And even if it's not good for you, who cares? The universe loves it when you do something new. The universe loves it when you move. The universe loves it when you switch jobs, you move across the country, because your vibration changes, your vibration increases. And every time you increase your vibration, you're helping the planet ascend, which is what you came here for. Anyways, so you don't have to worry about making a mistake. You don't have to be worrying about making a bad decision. You don't have to worry about doing anything wrong. You can't. You are divine, you are perfect, and so there is no wrong, okay? Now, you can ask for help. You can ask others for help. You can ask others' opinion of what they think you should do. And talk to people, you know? Aquariuses are and I'm Aquarius, so I can talk a lot about decision making. Aquariuses are typically very good at making decisions. Why? Because they think very quickly and they know what they want, okay? It's like Daphne Frankel, okay? If you ask Daphne Frankel, she's a Real Housewife of Real Housewives in New York City, that's right. If you ask her what she thinks, she's going to have a response. It's just fast. It's just like she knows what she wants. She's decisive, you know? If you're going to give her a choice between a black chair and a red chair, she's going to choose the red chair, or not. Or maybe she's going to like the black chair better. Boom, done. It's going to be a split-second decision. It's because she knows what she wants. So Cancer, you need to determine what it is that you want. And kind of work on building up your personality, building up who you are, building up kind of I guess a library in your mind of what you like, you know? Because Cancers typically, there's not really much of a library. It's really just a response to, an emotional response. They have thoughts and they can be very smart, but they're not using their mind as much as, say, someone else. And so you need to use your head more, Cancer, when it comes to making a decision. Write it out on a piece of paper if you need to. Keep a log. Keep a journal, okay? Ask people. And the other thing, too, is, so this is where I was going, is that Aquariuses, they know what they want, but typically they're the ones that call every single person that they know and ask them their opinion. And most of the time, the Aquarius will make up their mind, and it might be the total opposite of what everybody said. But it's like they put everybody to a vote. They ask everybody, all their friends and all their family, what they think, and they analyze their response. And in the end, they come up with a decision that works best for them. You have to do what's best for you, ultimately. So if taking a new job is best for you because it pays you more, it has better hours, it has, a nice employees, it's closer to where you live, take it, okay? That's your checklist. You know you want something closer to home. You know you want something that pays you more. You know you want something that the people are nice. Take it, you know? That's the advice I'm giving you. Okay, so where was I? Oh, so in the position of emotions, this is not a big surprise because you have, of course, the cups and the emotions. But in my deck here, in this financial spread, this card does not have to represent emotion at all. This card does not have to represent something that you're thinking about or feeling. This card just represents some element of the energy down the line in probably the second to last week of May that you're going to be feeling a certain way. And right now, you have this marriage. This is marriage, husband and wife, soulmates, happiness, children, life partners, love. If upright, this is perfect content in the heart and abundance. This is great for all business opportunities, and this is the max in prosperity. This is overflowing money, okay? So this is kind of where you're at emotionally, but also financially. This is where you're going, I should say this is where you're going to be at later in May. This is what you want for yourself. You kind of want to have a soulmate, to be happy, to maybe to have kids, if you don't already have kids. This is love. This is really strong relationship. If you're not in a relationship, I feel like because your desire for a relationship is so strong, that you're going to meet somebody later on, potentially in June or July. Now, female Cancers, you have 2 males that could be waltzing into your life, okay? 2 guys, okay? So Cancer ladies. Now, Cancer males, one of these guys could be you. You could be gay, and you could meet somebody. This could be you, and then you have this Knight of Wands. Hang on. I believe it's the Knight of Wands. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, I'm so sorry. I got confused here in my spread. I don't know why. Anyways, I was a little bit lost. Okay, so this is okay, so I was saying if you're gay, you could be this king here, and you could meet this knight. Okay? If you're, again, Cancer females, you're meeting 2 guys. Cancer males, you could be this person. This might not be, you might not be gay at all. This just may be someone this could be you later on, or someone that you meet later on. And so this can actually be female too. So where was I? So let's start with this, the King of Cups. Okay, and the King of Cups is a very good man who's fair and understanding and kind and generous. This is the best dad, okay? This is a man who wants a family and would do everything and anything for them. If you are single, this is the search for Mr. Right. He is a great businessman, okay? If you're doing anything kind of contracts, this is yes. This is the answer for that. This is for good for contracts. This is a positive outcome for business opportunities and contracts. Now, so because you have this marriage card followed by this person, I feel like this is the person, female ladies, that you probably will end up marrying, okay? If you meet him and the timing is right and everything goes well, okay? Now, this card it says a good guy or someone or girl or someone who likes to be of help or to help others. Slow and steady wins the race. To have a job or career that is very stable, okay? For business opportunities and in career, this is someone who's just beginning, but's going to advance as they are good at what they do. So I see this as being a very career-focused card. So emotionally, your focus is not surprising for you, Cancer. Your focus is on marriage, is on children, is on family, is on romance, it's on love. It's also on prosperity and abundance, but you would like mostly to have all the whole package. And I feel like the universe is going to send you someone who, if you're female, okay, this guy who is pretty much everything that you want and is going to want a family. Now, some of you may be in a relationship, so you may already have a lot of these things, and you may be married to someone who is like that, okay? And then this career card, this is stability in career. This is for those of you who you may want stability in a career if you don't have it. This is really, climbing the ladder, getting advanced, okay? Not just staying at the status quo, okay? So for you Cancer guys, I feel like you're, also, maybe wanting a family, focusing on the whole package, and at the same time, really trying to advance in your career. Later in May, that's really what you're going to switch kind of focuses, or you're just going to continue to be focused on your career and the attainment of finances. Okay. So now here's the tricky thing, the tricky little devil, I always say. The outcome is the devil card, okay? La Diable. I can't say it in French correctly. My French is pretty bad. It's ironic that I got this card, that's all these cards that are in French, and half of it I can't really read. But I've done the research, and I feel like these cards and I have a connection, and I am part French. I do know that, so that's something, okay? But where was I going with this? Oh, yes. So they got the devil card for the outcome. And I actually really like this card, okay? And this card says, it reminds us of our choice to be enslaved to materialism, drugs, sex, alcohol, to our desires, to our animal side, or to climb higher and seek a spiritual enlightenment. Power comes from understanding yourself and self-acceptance, the duality, okay, the God and the beast. Power comes from being able to decide to when to indulge and when to walk away. This is overcoming. This is a card also about overcoming addictions. This is, and there usually is a love of money. It usually depicted here. Okay, I see this as the struggle with, in a way, that materialistic side of everyone. Okay, everyone's got that side. Everybody comes here onto this planet and wants to buy that ring, those earrings, that purse. Everybody wants to at some point, and we get so sucked into it, and we get so hungry for money and so driven by a love of money because we feel like it's power, that we forget that it is our choice, that we have a choice, that we don't have to buy into that need, that lust, that enslavement to the stuff, to the materialism. We can say no. We can say no to the the alcohol, the sex addiction, the drug addiction. We can say no to that to be in a higher place, to be focused on enlightenment, to be focused on other things. So the power you actually will have if you say no to the addiction is that you actually are in control of making the choice. That's the power. You get to say, you know what? No, I'm not going to smoke any longer. No, I'm not going to drink any longer. No, I'm not going to just go out and fuck anybody any longer. No, because I choose not to. Choosing when to indulge and when to walk away. And sometimes when you're addicted and you've become so enslaved and so wrapped up in the materialism, you've forgotten how to say no. And when you say no, you take your power back, okay? And so that's where the power comes from. You say no, you say, I am good with not drinking beer every single night. I'm good with not having to have a cigarette every single day. I'm good with not having to sleep with every girl that I meet or every guy that I meet, or, you know, just saying to yourself, I think it comes down to saying to yourself, you could indulge, but you're choosing not to. You might want to indulge, but you're choosing not to. And it's that person who finds the happy medium, you know. The thing about addictions is that people have gotten so enslaved to it. So they've really stopped being able to say no. They've lost all power to it. That's the problem. It's not really the drugs or the sex or the alcohol that's doing it. It's that need, that lack of empowerment, that lack of being in control of their life anymore. Because some people can drink, you know, on an every other day basis and be fine because they know their limits. They know when to indulge and when to walk away, when to say yes, when to say no. It's that person, you know, who goes to the bar every now and then and has a beer. I mean, it's not like a huge deal because they know their limits. They know, and they can say no, and they can walk away. Whereas the person that's addicted has a difficult time saying no. So my suggestion for you, so here's the thing, how does this play into your finances? This is a major arcana card. This is a card about being a slave to your desires, not being able to say no, to make the call or make the choice for yourself, not being able to make wise choices. It's interesting because in career, there were several cards that talked about making wise choices, and I talked for a while about how Cancers really need to work on making better choices. So it really comes down to financially, health-wise, romance-wise, you need to make a better choice for yourself, Cancer. You need to choose no. You're not going to do that anymore. No. You don't want to have those kinds of relationships anymore. If you've been in a pattern also of cheating, where you've been, cheating on someone, okay, or several someones, or you're just in a pattern of being selfish, you need to stop that too. It needs to come to an end. Because you're a slave to your desires, and you don't, in a way, you're having a difficult time stopping. The minute you say no to all of this stuff is the minute that I feel like financially and I guess clarity is going to kind of come to you. Although it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a major challenge. You may feel, in going into June, very frustrated about money, very concerned about money, how much money you have. I feel like it's going to be, this is your challenge. In a way, you're enslaved to money. Because you're a money slave, you're not actually able to enjoy. Like, if you were to have all of this, you're not able to enjoy it because you're a slave to the money. It's like with Gemini. I was saying how Gemini, it's not paradise any longer if you're unhappy every single day. If you're coming home to it with a frown, it's not. It's not a happy marriage anymore if one of the people in the marriage is an addict, if they have addictions, if they're cheating, or a partnership. It doesn't have to be marriage. It can be a partnership too, or a boyfriend or girlfriend. To me, I feel like if you don't get this situation straight with the devil, there will be several cards that came after that will persist. Issues that will persist. Being overworked. Maybe working so much because you're so enslaved to the money. Feeling like you have to work. I feel like it's maybe losing some money due to a kind of a breakup or divorce, and having issues with business later down the line also. if you don't work on your attitude to money. That quote, money is the root of all evil. I don't believe that it is. I believe the problem is that we become enslaved to it, and then it takes over. And I feel like you have to be very careful about it taking over your life, because I feel like at some point, even though on an emotional level you want this, you do. You want the husband, the wife, the soulmate, the happiness, the kids. You want the partnership. You want an overflowing bank account. However, you're a slave to money. It's almost like you want it so badly. Maybe you think that in order to have this, you have to have, you have to have, lots of, the Ten of Pentacles. I don't see it here, but you have to have like a lot of money, but you don't. That's the ironic thing. And you can change your perspective and you can change your attitude towards it. And if you do that, things will be better. Things will be so much better for you. But I feel like even if I tell you to change your perspective, I feel like you're going to still be enslaved for some time. So Cancer, this is something that, for those of you who are watching this, financially, you're going to need to work on. Very much so, on a daily basis. Work on your relationship to money, okay? Work on understanding that that life is not business, that you're not a slave to the money. You can say no and practice saying no more often in your life so that when it does come down to a financial decision, you can say no. I feel like you have so much positive stuff going on, but I feel like in the end, especially at the end of May, you need to work on your relationship to the money. You need to be not so obsessed with it and not so greedy about it and not so, I'm getting the word clingy, okay? And I say those three words not to be hurtful to you because I know Cancer, you're sensitive, but it's one of those things where that's the devil. The devil is the greed. The devil is the 7 deadly sins. The devil is that I need the money so badly, da-da-da-da-da. No, you have everything you need. You don't need the money to be happy and to have a soulmate. You don't. You don't need to be, and I actually know people that stayed either a bachelor or bachelorette their entire life because they either never got to a job or never got a job that actually advanced them at all, or they actually never got to a place where they had any money. And this is the worst thing to do, is to say, I'm only going to have a relationship when I can afford one. No. That's putting your life on hold. That's like saying, I'm only going to have a soulmate when, I make $1 million, when I'm retired, No, that's putting everything on hold. So you don't want to do that. You want to live in the moment now. You have everything you need now. You don't need to worry about money. You don't need to worry about the devil card. Don't worry about any of it. Just say no more often. Understand that you are a free person, that you can do anything that you want. And you can say, I don't feel like drinking tonight. Sorry, beer. See you later. You can do it. It's not a huge deal. Just say no. I'm going to leave off on that. So I wish you guys the best of luck and the best of everything, really, and the best in finance. And feel free to email me, elizabetholson31@gmail.com for a private reading. And I send you big hugs, big kisses. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Okay, take care.